Yeah, we all want to save time. Time is of the essence. And people tell you this when they're usually trying to rush you to get something done. Rush, like a flood. They say a flood of water rushes. That's what it does. When water's flooding, rushing has everything to do with hurrying, and hurrying has a lot to do with deception too, or the idea of trying to make up time, the idea that time is running out. So it is attaching itself to the definition of scarcity, the idea of having to rush, having to hurry. Even in defense, one tactic to defend yourself is to rush somebody because you want to discombobulate your attacker. You want to thereby confuse them. You also have rush when you're trying to get to what is called the end zone in football. You can either have passes or rushes. That's when the person is running. But there's this idea that because the clock is ticking, it's not just a run, it's a rush. You're getting rushing yards, not running yards, but rushing yards. And all of this is wrapped up in the idea of time being essential. But I ask you this: time is of what essence? Because nobody ever tells you that. They just say, hurry up, time is of the essence, time is of the essence. But time is of what essence? What essence is time of? You ask them this and they probably won't be able to answer you. So we can break it down ourselves and glean some answers ourselves. The one thing that we do have to understand about time is its essence is of administrative uh, type of sequencing, because time has everything to do with being a secretary. The idea of time is not just what you see on the clock or what you see on the calendar. It's usually just to chronicle moments and, give shape precedents, and again, to create a library of events. So it's like saving data, saving data. That's what the essence of time is. So it's secretarial, in its nature. And what do you have in secretary? The root word is pretty much secret. So in secrecy, you're making the secrets known by, virtue of the way you're organizing things. And this is what is of the essence of time. And in that, since you're dealing with numbers in the idea of time, if you're dealing with time in that way, like minutes and seconds and counts, now you're dealing with accounting also, because you also have a saying that time is money. So now there is a certain wealth that time represents. And with this, you're going to need accounting. And with this comes economics. And with this you get saving and spending, wasting and saving. In time, time gets so many abuses heaped upon it just in regular loose language. You punching in the clock. You're killing time, you know what I mean? Or wasting time. Wasting is another word for kill. In like the 70s, it was like, I'm going to waste them. That usually meant you were getting ready to 86 them. You're going to off them. So wasting time is also synonymous with killing time. But you can't kill time, can you? Time just ticks. Time just goes on. You can't really do anything to time. Allegedly. Where we could talk about time dilation and the idea of productivity, manipulating one's time flow. And this is where you get time bending from. If a person is making very good use of their time and they're enjoying just about every moment of their life and they're living in their fulfillment, they're living in their best self, and they're really on a groove to achieve their dreams, or they're living their dreams, all of this is going to make time flow a certain way. You can be in a sense of timelessness in this paradise like forever, where time seems to never move. Or you can be going through a living hell where it just seems so unbearable, and as soon as you look up in the midst of your depression, 15 years go by and it feels like 5, or 20 years go by and it'll feel like 10. You look up and you say, man, with the rough life I had, but then you don't realize how quick that life passes away. In the moment of your suffering, you feel like it's gonna take a week for a day to pass because you're going through it and you're at rock bottom. So it seems like it's gonna take forever for you to get from rock bottom to back on the escalator or the elevator of life successes again. And then before you know it, you've spent 15, 20 years worrying instead of jumping on your path. And just like that, the time is gone, is wasted. So it's not, and we say that loosely, but we mean it very rhetorically when we say that, because in that instance, we did not waste time. Time was not killed. We didn't kill the idea of the ongoing now. We didn't destroy that in any way, shape, or form. What we did was we forfeited our control in that parameter of time. So we edited ourselves out by autopilot. We were depressed. We weren't enacting ourselves upon life. We were like stuck in whatever that moment was that made us depressed, which immediately becomes the past because it's something that happened. But we make the past an ongoing present, and we keep cutting off our desired future. We say that there's a future that we desire, but our energy of how we deal with the past being both positive and negative, that magnetic pull is so strong that we get held back in our accounting. So it's like you got to update your Quicken book. You have to update your budgeting book. But if you're going off of old notes and you won't revise your notes, you're going to be working with outdated information. So you're going to have an outdated outlook in your position of time. You'll be a person who still haven't matured to a certain level where everybody else has seemingly moved on in life, moved on in thinking, moved on in stature, right? This doesn't always have to mean status, but just, they're not like they were in high school. They're not like that. They grew up, you know what I mean? But if you don't grow up, you'll be a product of whatever that time was that you stayed immature in. So if you were immature in 1995, even though it's 2023, if you still act like you did in 1995, then you're still in 1995. But the time that we're accounting for now and making current and relative at this moment is 2023. And you can use, a few years back, like 2020 and up is like a new era. You could say from the pandemic on, that's like a new era. So, but anything going back like, okay, 2015, that's already old. That's already old. We're almost, 10 years away from 2015. In 2 years, we'll be 10 years away from that already, even though it feels like 2015 just happened. That's how quickly time flows. And especially because of the crisis and different crises we've been seeing just as a human race, like on the news, different events. When you focus on these things enough, years will pass by like months because you'll be so locked in your root chakra. Oh, how am I going to survive? Everything's falling apart, this and that. The money's, you know what I mean? Crazy. People are falling ill. It's just all this turmoil. Folks are going to war. Different factions are fighting against each other and getting caught in the middle. You might see different sets of family and friends going to war with each other. Things seem to be in an upheaval, in a total balderdash and complete chaos. So in this cut on garbage disposal of a time that you're seeing, the essence that time is still accountability. So it's recording that. You see, time is non-judgmental. Time is only there to serve as a marker to say that this happened here. It's just a marker. That's all time is. It's a marker. Whether you've done good or bad, it's a marker. Now, when it comes down to the idea of redeeming the time, you can make a certain good decision that could save you years of time. And likewise, you can make a mistake that can cost you years of time. So there's certain levels of decision making that have a direct relation to the flow of time based on the consequences and how you perceive the experience. Like you said, or like I'm saying, it can be an ongoing hell or an ongoing heaven, or it can be a heaven that is fleeting and you're grasping for little moments of heaven, little moments of joy. Just they're fleeting, they're passing. Or you can be going through little fleeting moments of hell. This person tried you, but it bounced right out off you. This challenge came, but it bounced right off you. You overcame it. These different spirits tried to trick you and lower your vibration, but they bounced right off you. Fleeting moments of hell, those are. And all of this is manipulating the flow of time. So time is of the essence of what you record, of what's being recorded, of what's being considered in an event, a happening. And for short, we call these moments. That's why we say that the only time that we have is now, because we're working from the now. We can either reflect on the past, present, or future, but that will always and only happen from the now moment. So the now is the center. Now, if you put now on top of now, you're working with what we call high magic. Just that simple. No rituals required. If you put now on now, let's say, you're saying right now this is happening and you're putting all of your energy into that. And if any little thoughts go through your mind about the past, present, or future, you're condensing all of that and funneling it into what you're doing in this moment. So you're still channeling it, directing that flow of thought and redirecting those energies, right? Alternate current, direct current, AC, DC. So you're making that alternate current a direct current into what you're doing in the now moment. Like now, you might be talking to a family member, giving them counsel. Now, you might be coming up with some of the tenets of what your business is predicated upon before you start to build your business now. But all of the things that happened in your past that led you to come into this conclusion to decide to build your business, all of those moments are being funneled into the now, and it's making your why bigger, and thereby your actions more effective and more consistent. And then you have the other thing. Well, what about the future? I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if the people are going to say no. I don't know if this is going to work. So now you have a choice there, and you take those energies and funnel that into the now moment. And you say what? You say, you know what? I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but I know that it's going to go. I know that it's going to happen. I don't have to know exactly how. I have in my mind preconceived notions of how, and I'm prepared. I'm now preparing myself for different imagined scenarios of how. But in the meantime, what I'm putting into the now moment, what I'm putting into what I'm doing right now, those energies I'm putting now on now. So I'm taking the future and I'm bringing it into the now. I'm saying, you know what, right now I'm doing something about what I may worry about later. So that's time travel right there. Mentally speaking, that's time travel. You're making right now decisions based on what you perceive in the future, based on lessons also that you learned in the past. So you're time traveling. You're going, jumping quickly. Woo, this happened in 1992. Oh, I learned this lesson. Boom, back to 2023. All right, no, to never do this. Now that this opportunity reminds me of what happened back in 92. Or you say, woo, well, by 2027, I should have, this amount of money in the bank, these amount of businesses and subsidiaries of that business, me being the parent company in place and firmly founded and operational. So you're going into the future like, okay, but then you jump right back into 2023. Boom. All right. So in order to do what I just saw in 2027, I'm going to have to start building this, start understanding philanthropy, start understanding how different foundations operate, et cetera, et cetera. But all of this is quantum jumping. All of this is time travel. All of this is quantum leaps. It just, you're taking all of the sci-fi out of it and just making it very faith-based and very practical. So again, the Super T Sigma, take your time with time, but just know regardless of what, time will always take you along.